Arkansas, what are we going to do with you? What are we going to do? Because you had it. You had it right there, and a turnover just ruins it. Now, this game had the potential to be even more exciting than it already was, but the defense has decided to actually play in the second half. The defense decided that, okay, we're kind of done with this shootout, with this barn burner. We're gonna actually play, which was kind of lame, to be completely honest, because you saw an electric second quarter where Ole Miss takes the lead. They're up 31-28, and you're thinking we're set for a 60 plus point game for each team. And granted, it was still exciting, but I just wanted to continue watching that. Both coordinators were obviously in their bag, and they figured it out in the second quarter, obviously. The second half, though, the defense decided that they had enough, apparently. But overall, a very exciting game, a super underrated game, and there's a lot to take away for both teams. If you're Ole Miss, now part of this has to do with Austin Simmons' ankle looked real rough. It was very clear even when he was playing that he was not 100%. But I think there's an argument to be made that Trinidad Chambliss is a better option for them than Austin Simmons right now. And maybe that's for just a temporary basis. But when I watch these two quarterbacks play, and granted, it's hard to compare them against other teams, and then also you throw in the injury. Chambliss just looks more comfortable. He looks like he's been there before, and he's coming from a Division II program. I think that he looked a lot better than what we've seen in the last 2 weeks. And I think if you're Ole Miss, you're going to go to him until he hits his moment of struggle. I think you kind of have to. This offense moved so much better with him running the show. They clearly had a better element in terms of running, and he looked like he'd been there before. Austin Simmons is just kind of learning right now, and I think that he's going to be super talented, and it'll be interesting to watch what he can do in terms of his development. But I think right now, Chambliss gives your offense the best chance of success because he brings in an element to actually be able to run, and he plays with a confidence that maybe Austin Simmons doesn't possess quite yet. I don't know. That's just what I think. I think that I saw a guy that clearly was the better option. 21 of 29 for 353 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. Also ran for 62 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, he came to Ole Miss with a ton of production. He came to Ole Miss with plenty of ability. But then Austin Simmons wins the job, obviously, and now you get your opportunity, and he did not miss. He did not miss on his opportunity, and now you have that question of, is this what we're going to do going forward? Is this who we want to run our offense? Because I think the answer has to be yes. I think you have to change. Part of it is because of the injury, but part of it is because it just looked better. It looked more natural. It looked like he was comfortable doing what he needed to do. Now, the second half obviously was a bit of a struggle for both sides, but there are also plenty of good things to take away from it. And I think that he gives them a better chance to move the football. That's just what I saw. And you saw a team that, again, looked a lot different with him running the show. So if you're Ole Miss, I think that's something you have to consider. I think it's something you should at least think about. And if Austin Simmons needs a little bit of a break, I think you're in just fine hands with Chambliss running the show. Now, flipping to the Arkansas side, the loss is obviously painful. The loss is extremely frustrating, and you probably wish that you could go back and do a couple things different. There are a couple things, though, we need to talk about. One is that Taylen Green's Heisman campaign is officially over, mostly because I don't see Arkansas not beating Ole Miss and then finding a way to finish 9-3, 10-2, which is probably where you need to be if Taylen Green's going to win the Heisman. So I think that's over. I think that that's gone, and it's officially gone. Now, people are probably making an argument that, okay, well, it was already gone. It didn't matter. But I think the numbers he's going to put up this year would put him in that conversation, but his team is going to ruin it for him. That being said, I think that Sam Pittman is not guaranteed to be shown the door because of what we saw tonight. Taylen Green clearly is comfortable in this offense, and he finishes 22 of 35 for 305 yards and 1 touchdown passing. He also was the leading rusher for this team, 111 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground. This is a guy who is extremely competent and confident in what he's doing. And this offense, even though coming into this year there weren't a lot of proven commodities that we saw, this is an offense that clearly has some chemistry going for them early. And it's clear in the first half that they were firing on all cylinders. Now, the second half, you obviously did not look the same. But that last drive before the fumble, this was a team that was playing a ton of confidence. Taylen Green was getting pressured on that last drive quite a bit. But all he did was either escape the pocket or he made a big time throw where he gets pressured, has to step up in the pocket. And I think in the past, he would have taken off and run. But he gets his eyes up and downfield and he sees a guy going over the middle. Now, granted, the window that he had to throw into was so small that you wouldn't have blamed him for running because, one, he had plenty of field ahead of him. And also, it's a tough throw. But this year's Taylen Green decided, no, I'm going to rip it right into that pocket and make this play. And he completes the pass. And I don't think people are going to talk about that. I can't wait to watch the All-22 on it because that was a play where you see the development of Taylen Green and you see what he's capable of doing. And you see this offense at a level that maybe people didn't realize. So I think Arkansas feels really good about what they have offensively. Now, the defense is a different story. You gave up 475 yards of total offense. You gave up 6.8 yards per play. Those are things that are going to have to be addressed. Now, the defense also, I hope everything's okay with Kenneth Walker. That was a very scary situation. I hope that he's okay because that was not fun to watch. But this defense also has some things they need to address because they're just a group that is currently a liability to this team. And we saw that. Now, they did step up in the second half. So you have to at least give them some credit for slowing things down. But this is a reason why I say Taylen Green's Heisman campaign is done. Because they look like a team that is going to have to rely on this offense to keep them in games. And that's not going to be a formula for success long term. And it's not going to be a formula for a team that wins 10, 9 games. Maybe not even 8. This might be a 7-5, 6-6 team if this continues. But also, this is an offense that has shown it can be a problem for so many teams. And when you watch what we saw against some of in the SEC this year, so far we've seen that this is an opportunity for someone like Arkansas to surprise some people. When you look at the remaining schedule, the next week against Memphis, they could put up a ton of points against that Memphis team. I'll tell you that much. Then they play Notre Dame. Notre Dame's defense isn't exactly elite right now, so that's an opportunity for them to compete as well. The problem is that your SEC schedule goes Tennessee, Texas A&M, Auburn, Mississippi State, LSU, Texas, Missouri. Right now, every team except for Mississippi State is ranked. Mississippi State is 3-0. They are playing a lot better. So when I say that Taylen Green's Heisman campaign is over, you can kind of see why now. You can see why it's officially over. Unless Arkansas finds this new gear and decides to just run through that entire schedule and finishes the year 11-1, which would just shock everyone, that is something that would be really surprising. Now, you'll notice that they don't have to play Alabama. They don't have to play Georgia. This is an offense that can do some damage. Like I said, Notre Dame's defense isn't elite. Tennessee just gave up 44 points to Georgia. Texas A&M just gave up 40 points to Notre Dame. Auburn has given up points to teams in the past as well. Mississippi State, even though they're 3-0, will give up points. That they have not faced an offense that is of Arkansas's caliber. LSU's defense is pretty good. That would be a good test. Same with Texas. I think that this is a team that could be really fun in Arkansas, but you just need to find ways to give yourself a chance to be more consistent and find better defense. Find a way to slow down other teams, because Taylen Green is going to be really fun, but he can't do everything for you. He just can't. If you're Ole Miss, I would consider that change. I would consider looking at Chambliss as that option, and I would consider also trying to figure out who is going to be someone that can step up when you face a quarterback like this, because Taylen Green did a lot of damage, and I can guarantee you that there are going to be plenty of offenses that can do the same.